I've made no secret on this channel that I don't have the greatest amount of time for Mauricio Sullivan, the president of the WBC. I think that as a whole, he is not someone, again, I would have much time for to keep it as PC as I can. That's how I would say it. He's not someone I'd have much time for. I don't agree with a lot of the decisions he makes with regards to the WBC. I think that he has behaved very much like a dictator at times, making the rules of the WBC open to interpretation that he can then interpret. I don't agree with that. I don't think it's right. And a lot of people have been asking my thoughts on this Manny Pacquiao Mario Barrios situation, and I've mentioned it briefly, but I think maybe now is time to go and give my 2 cents on it. And I think this fight is an absolute disgrace. I can't emphasize that enough. I think it is an absolute disgrace. Manny Pacquiao is a man who's primarily fought, certainly since he's been at 147 pounds, for the WBO title at, as I said, 147 pounds. The last time, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe the last time he fought a WBC sanctioned bout may very well have been potentially when he fought Broner. I'm not sure what was on the line for that fight. May very well have been that. If it wasn't that, it was probably Floyd a decade ago. I don't know if anything was on the line against Broner, so that may have been a WBC bout. They may have chucked something on the line. I could be wrong on that one. But if it's not that, it's probably against Floyd. All right? So he's not fought a sanctioned WBC title bout for many, many years. He's not won a fight since he beat Keith Thurman nearly 6 years ago. By the time the proposed date of July the 19th happened with Mario Barrios, it will have been, I think, no, maybe just shy of 6 years or thereabouts, but it roughly would have been 6 years. 6 years since he beat Thurman. 4 years since his last fight, which was against Jordanis Ugas, which he lost soundly. He lost. It was meant to be Errol Spence that night, but Spence had the issues from the car crash still. I think it was an eye injury. Was it? I can't remember. It wasn't a detached retina. I was thinking of that because that would have ended his career, but it was something to do with his eye. Either way, it doesn't matter. That's Manny Pacquiao, 46 years old or so. And just to rub salt in the wounds, he's now ranked number 5 by the WBC. I don't have the full rankings in front of me. I don't. But if I'm one of the guys who's ranked below Manny Pacquiao in the WBC rankings, I am fuming. I'm fuming. I'm fuming that I've probably fought and put money towards sanction fees to the WBC for them to go and let a guy who's been out of the ring, inactive for 4 years, is 46 years old, jump the queue and get a world title shot just like that. The WBC have done this several times throughout the course of their history. It's a long history, and I hate to see an organisation with the history and prestige the WBC has tarnish it, quite frankly, which they are doing. It's as simple as that. They are tarnishing it. You have Sullivan here who has done... Canelo Alvarez has not had to face Dave Benavidez, his mandatory 168 pounds, to the point where Benavidez had to move up in weight. Tyson Fury, when the USAC negotiations broke down in 2023, early 23, he was given carte blanche to fight Francis Ngannou, and when it was pushed upon him, why wasn't a mandatory being called or even an eliminator being called? Well, it wouldn't be right. But yet this is a guy who's chucked mandatories out of thin air for fighters like Artur Beterbiev in the past. Fighters like Marcus Brown, who hadn't even fought at 175 pounds in a couple of years and had lost their last fight at 170, and he's mandatory. This makes no sense. And I've said this before about the WBC, and I'll say it again. They may be an organisation, but they are still a business as well at the end of the day, and they're in the business of making money. And they obviously will make money from this Manny Pacquiao fight. But as a whole, Manny Pacquiao, Tyson Fury, Canelo Alvarez, Manny Pacquiao 46 come back, who knows really what might happen, but they won't be around forever in the sport of boxing. We know that. Majority of them will be gone in a few years, right? Maybe the overwhelming majority of them. Where's the incentive for young fighters to fight for WBC belts and pay sanction fees? Where is it? Where is it? When you're allowing retired fighters to jump the queue. When you're making mandatories wait 2 years. Maybe more. With no date. When you're making them jump through hoops just to get a title shot, for them to turn around and say, well, we're not going to call the mandatory anyway. Where's the incentive to fight WBC sanctioned bouts? I don't see it. Do I see an incentive to fight IBF sanctioned bouts? With the exception of the rehydration clause, yeah, I do. Do I see a good reason to fight WBO sanctioned bouts? Yes, quite frankly, because they, like the IBF, they're not perfect. No one is perfect. The two of them have made horrendous, catastrophic mistakes in the past and done things very questionable. But their integrity is more there than, we'll say, the WBC at this stage. And as for Manny Pacquiao, yikes. I don't know the financial situation he's in, and I hate to see a fighter be reduced to coming back to a sport that's dangerous. This isn't like I know obviously it's different because you've got rules in place and how you qualify for these things, etc., etc. But this isn't like a darts player. This isn't like a Phil Taylor deciding at 60, do you know what, I want to come back and play Luke Littler. And they could probably, but I know we couldn't play professionally anymore, but you know what I mean? You could probably play him on a pay-per-view. It would draw a massive gate, because it genuinely would probably. And it would do good numbers. He'd walk off, a happy man with his probably hundreds of thousands, maybe even a cool million in his pocket. He's thrown 3 darts at a board for probably the best of 15 sets, to probably do sets, right? It's a 2-hour game. You've not taken a single headshot. You're in a well airconned room. You've water there, etc., etc., etc. Manny Pacquiao is going to get hit in the head by a much younger man, albeit the weakest champion at 147 pounds. Father Time is undefeated. You lost soundly to Yordenis Ugas, who was a very, very good fighter, by the way. I'm not knocking Yordenis Ugas. Best prime for prime. I mean, he would make light work of Pacquiao-Barrios, right? But that was still 4 years ago. I think it's a disgrace that WBC are allowing this to happen. They're enabling something like this to happen. I hate the fact that Manny Pacquiao was reduced to doing this. I'm sure he could make money on the exhibition scene. A lot safer. And it's just, for me as a whole, I think this is an awful look. I really do. And I think the WBC, I don't know how you change it. I don't, and I don't think it ever will, unfortunately. But I really don't like what I'm seeing with this, and I hope to God, in defeat, because I won't be putting a penny on Manny Pacquiao winning, he comes out not with less of himself. And I hope that the WBC will learn from this, because I think it's going to be a debacle. I think it's going to, and I like Car Crash TV when it's funny. This won't be funny. All right, this isn't like taking 2 inexperienced guys, overweight, and sticking them in a ring and just chuck punches at one another, which you can have a laugh at. That's funny. No, this is going to be not fun. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it, people. Be interested to know your thoughts. Until next time, I'll leave it there. Peace.